This is an orthokeratology case where the patient's not getting a whole lot of treatment. We can see the post and pre-wear maps are very similar to each other, not really any central flattening. And even in the periphery of the cornea, we're not getting much flattening, usually where we see the periphery of the lens lining. When we bring up the lens, you can see we're working with a 14 millimeter diameter, so this is a corneal scleral case. And my best guess is that we're just getting too much clearance in the center of the lens. So we can get that at the very apex of the cornea if we have too much bearing here at the back surface of or the back edge of the reverse curve. But going by how the posterior topography looks, I'm guessing we're not even getting much applanation in the cornea here. So the best way to address this case is to look at the fluorescein or maybe an OCT, anterior segment OCT if you have one, just to make sure that if we're getting lots of central clearance and that clearance extends all the way out to the limbus, then that tells us we're not getting enough applanation even here in the periphery of the lens. If we're getting pretty good alignment in the periphery lens and we're only getting central clearance, then we want to adjust the lens differently. Again, because it looks like we're not flattening too much out here in the periphery, my guess is even out around here, this part of the lens, we're lifted much farther off of the cornea than we would expect to be. So the way to get rid of that is to simply lift the edge of the lens. Right now we have an edge angle of 40.8, and I would probably start as my next lens going down to about a 38.8. So we're going to change that by a difference of about 2 degrees. And to do that, I'm going to go to 8x to make things faster. We'll go up to 140 and the back surface. So we just take our black dot here and we're going to, so we're pretty close to there already. I think maybe just 1 or 2 more clicks. Now we've overshot. Let's come back down a little bit. So what I've done here is bring up the original lens again on the left side. Here's the lens we just edited on the right. And you can see that we've decreased the sagittal depth of this lens by 70 microns or so, at least in this meridian. So that's a pretty big change. We only changed it 2 degrees in the periphery, but sag-wise, that's going to give us a fair amount of change. So with this lens on, you should notice much more of an expected fluorescein pattern where you'll have central bearing, clearance in your reverse curve, bearing in the mid-periphery of the lens, and finally some edge clearance so the lens isn't sealing off too much. So that should get the patient seeing a little bit better, more molding. You will still have to make sure the edges of the lens are fitting properly and we're not getting too much central bearing, but that's probably how I would start at least troubleshooting this case. So hopefully that helps. Best of luck and thanks for watching.